See, this is an example. I think you've identified that you're gonna have more poke, but you're still interacting in a way in which you're trying to out-rotate them even though you don't have the capability to do that. Basically trying to play this ring around the rosy and trying to burn them and poke them. It's not necessarily gonna work if that team has decent poke capability and also a Lucio speed as well. What's just gonna happen is we're gonna find people out of position midway through rotation or in a late rotation, and then they're just gonna get burnt. So right now our BAP is chilling, even though we try and shield off the rotation, our BAP is late, so BAP just dies for free. I think you should genuinely just take the team fight here. Just play to take the team fight here, because even though you're in brawl range, you can still brawl. You guys still have brawl capability. You just don't have the Lucio speed, but there's no need for a Lucio speed in this enclosed spot because we're already matching them here. Whilst you guys brawl, that is when our Iari or our Soj, our Iari and our Soj even can double up on just the enemy Sojourn. Does that make sense? So actually what we're doing is making our 1v1 a lot easier for just that Soj. But yeah, that's how we should basically interact. Our other DPS, well I say DPS, our Iari and our Soj off angle, we take the brawl here. And then you guys act accordingly, try and play off walls, you know, our back break shields, stuff like that. In fact, let me not even skip. That's unfortunate. Okay. In terms of the actual combination, do we know how we want to interact with our abilities, let's just say? Because the order that these things were... Right, okay. Right. Let's just sit down here. The order that these things were popped with the wrong order. We want to land the wall first, and then we want to rock whatever is walled. Does that make sense? So we're getting that guaranteed stun. And then we can take it to another step, where after we've rocked whatever's walled, we can actually amp speed in the direction of the wall, drop the wall, and then chase the rest of the team. So we kind of out-tempo them. Does that make sense? So it's just about like wall, rock, amp, wall, rock, amp. It still works without the amp, but that's how we kind of want to set up our initial engagements on our comp. We don't want to rock the rotation. We would rather just wall and split, because a rock is very good for rocking things that are already walled off. And what else would you use a rock for in this comp? Probably Sigma Flux, right? Yeah, so I just think with a better wall rock amp combo there, we actually win that fight, but it's fine because we died first anyways, so it's good that we got point progression in the first place. So we're choosing to take the slow, more pokey route. We're actually choosing to play point first, which is interesting. Because we've already identified that we're not a brawl team, right? That's the whole reason why we're trying to keep our distance. But this play here, is this not a brawl play? Going straight to point, is that not a brawl play? Yeah, okay, right. So this is a neutral and there's less need for the speed. So fair enough, taking that. What I really like about this position is that you know that they're all going to be stacked, which will allow us to actually take really aggressive swings. But yeah, I'm going to just play it out. the second you choose not to play point side, and the second you start taking stairs, these swings become way less viable, or maybe not less viable, but a lot more risky. And the risk might outweigh the reward at that point. So to be completely honest with you, if I was just to take an engagement here, I would just look to clear high ground, because they're actually not getting Lucio utility by stacking here. They're also not getting a much Soj utility because they're stacking that angle here also, which is quite interesting. The macro here seems to be played pretty poorly, so even though what you're doing is viable if they were playing the comp correctly, because they're not playing the comp correctly, it's actually way easier just to identify that and just play into the win condition of just running them over. Even if we don't want to push past this corner per se, imagine if we just set up a pylon here. You know, all we need to do then is bait the walls and we get pylon heals, which is overall more heals than the Lucio is going to give their team as well. They're all stacked. They're all stacked. If we have sun not sun cooldown, but sun ult, we can hit a big sun, at least force hands, you know, force the Sigma hands, and then we can interact around that. Basically, it's all cause and effect is what I'm trying to get at. I mean, it worked. That's a very, very aggressive angle. That's actually crazy that also just able to do that. But the reason why I paused it is because look at the context of the time. Any good team that goes into final fight and has 4 ults is just gonna hit Q or hit Y earlier than you do, right? They could have literally just won the fight flat out with popping these ults. So what you need to do is go into this fight expecting to pop at least 2, potentially even 3 ults before they pop their ults, just for any chance of trying to win. Here I would have, I mean, you have a lot that you can do. Obviously overclock is way better in the mid fight just because people are naturally out of positions, 3 kills. In terms of engagement ults here, we could even take damage deliberately, play for window, create more space. But if you want a straight win con, a very quick explosive fight, we have the Blizz, we have the Flux. Maybe poke out the Sig for a bit. If he uses an early hands, we could Blizz after, or if he uses an early rock, we can just Flux after. That's what the win condition probably should have been in your mind at this point, but we ended up just waiting for our surge. What did you say?
I think we were going off, but then he just randomly killed 2, so we were like...
Oh yeah, fair. It seemed, it was like it took a very long time in general. Nice heat. Very nice heat. Now you won that with just Blizz OC. Fair enough. I don't really like stacking Blizz with other ults, but I think both of them were fairly needed, and your ult economy is not bad, and your ult economy is pretty much matching the enemy team's here. Oh wait, they just wasted window. We can wall that and we can play away from it. Like, we wouldn't even be sacrificing space if we just told our teammates to play behind these walls. We don't need to hard peek the window, like, at all. They're touching. We could literally just solo flux the Sig. If we solo flux the Sig and we place that wall here and we time that wall after we solo flux the Sig, you know, they might jump up, lamp it, you know what I mean? But we're still going to force out cooldowns just from that one individual play, and we're trading a flux for a window, and we still have 2 support ults, and there's only 30-40 seconds left in this round as well, which is interesting. Matching them here, window in here. That's a huge pick. You don't have to be the one that reacts to the Lucio per se. I know you saw it and I know that's kind of why you backed up. But even here, you could still be just spamming out the Mei. Imagine if we can force out an ice cooldown here, like an ice block cooldown here. That would be huge. Or even if the BAP shifts it. I don't remember the console keybind, probably like LB or something like that. Jeez. Back in the day, right? But that dies. This is fine. You could have timed the rock better there, in my opinion. Just because it's kind of obvious when they're gonna hold it. You know, small micro. It's obvious when they're gonna hold it for the duration. And if they do hold it for the duration, it's easy to track. And that's why I tell my Mei players to try and cancel ice block maybe half a second before, just to throw off the you know, the muscle memory of everyone that they kind of play into now. But at the end of the day, very small macro. It doesn't really matter. Let's move on. So this is a very interesting setup. So initially, I feel like it's the default to go up here. This is fine. Because we have more poke, I would want you guys to swing coast. I find it very...
So, at the time, that's what I said. I was like, they're playing rush, we're on poke, should we not go left?
Mm-hmm.
And then my team said, nah, just go right. And then I said, okay, but I'm going main because they're on rush. And we were so surprised when they went left.
Yeah. It's true. Like, even their comp gets value from swinging coast side, just because they do have the Soldier's more sightlines. But it is very strange that they went far left. And that might actually be because of the comp that you're playing. They kind of knew that this is the position that we ideally want to take. That's a huge rock. We lose this fight. Let's just try and get R1. See if we can either trade a life or get out safely. They force rock. I mean, you can already, like, you can still try to deal damage, try to get picks. Imagine if you forced out a late lamp there. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's huge for the next fight. So don't just give up when it comes to team fights like that. Because if you forced out a late lamp, there'll probably be like 8 seconds to lamp at this point. And yeah, they'll probably get lamp back by the time they'll need it again, but you never actually know. With things like Sojourn in the game, you know, we could actually just hit something huge. They would probably lamp the Sig there. But even then, because of that sort of trade-off, if they lamp the Sig there, then if they lamp, what am I saying, Jesus Christ, if they lamp the Sig there, that's obviously very early in the fight, and we can go off of that. We've pop lamp very early in the fight, and I want to see how we actually interact based on this. We killed a BAP. That is huge now. That is huge. I don't really want you sacrificing space. Because even though you want to end up in this sort of area towards the fight, I wouldn't want you backing up the second they walk. I want you to stand your ground and stand this corner, knowing that your potential to actually stand your ground is good because you have the Mei, the Sig, and the BAP. The Sig still plays corners the same way that Reinhardt would play corners. So what you should do is pre-fight, scout. So what you've done here is scouted. You know their rotation. It's unlikely that they're going to bait. So how do we play around stuffing this corner then? You know? because our Sojourn needs to slide away. Bearing in mind that they're here, our Sojourn needs to play probably for this angle. Do you see what I'm saying? So get that information very, very early in the fight and rotate early, because you need to rotate super duper early in this situation because you don't have speed and they have speed. So you need to be able to match them by the time they get past this corridor. You guys need to get from A to B. If you can't meet them here and stuff them here, then at least you can meet them here and stuff them here. Do you see what I'm saying? But that rotation's late. Like, actually late. And now all of a sudden, look. We have the terrible positions. These positions don't play into our win cons at all. It's not bad. Oh my god, that's so unfortunate. Oh, we popped the Sojo. Okay, that's really unfortunate. It's fine. That's huge. I mean, yeah, Lucio's down. There's actually no real reason why we need to go fast, because Lucio will get back. It's a nice fight. Overall, that was a very nice fight. Again, so you need to pick up on patterns as well, because if they've taken the same rotation 3 times in a row, surely you should not necessarily expect them and default there, but at least be aware that they're probably going to do that and just react to it way earlier. Right now, there's too much space in between you. Like, why would you decide to take this 50-50 when you could have literally been here to stop them from pushing past doorway as it is? Because imagine if we met them close. When they push through here, what do we do? Given our ults, what do we do? We just blitz them, right? Like, tell me why that's not a free fight win with 74% on the clock as well. They're not going to be able to get another team fight. Do you see what I'm saying? Like they're going to have another team fight, but it's going to be a very rushed one. They spawned back with 84% on the clock. Lucio is going to do a rollout. He's going to get to point with like 90 on the clock, you know. And even then, Lucio can't touch point until 97. It's a very, very awkward time to be winning a team fight. So just match them early, blizz them early. If we blizz, Sigma's not going to hit Y to ult either. Like, Sigma's going to make sure that he doesn't get frozen out of his flux. And then we'd make the exact same play, but just way later. So we've given him an opportunity to actually react to it, when we could just make this play. Like, the play is good, but we could have just done it way earlier. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you guys really shouldn't. So that was just a positioning thing. Like, genuinely. I think with console gameplay, it's very, like, the macro is way more forgiving. Way more forgiving. Because in terms of micro, you guys aren't too far behind us when it comes to actually landing shots and stuff like that. But like these mistakes that I'm making, like these misunderstandings, just would not really happen in high level PC gameplay.
Because it's only now that like console has started to be allowed in PC stuff.
Yeah.
Like thing to go for.
Nah, it's true.
Like and console from Black Ops, this one.
Yeah. You know, Jazzy hopped on PC like 2 weeks ago and he's GM5 right now.
Yeah.
You gotta respect it. 98% win rate on Brig and 80% win rate on Lucio. Unranked to GM. That's not easy to do.
It's fair. It's not gonna be that hard in Overwatch 2 if you're like at least a semi-decent console player.
Nah, fair. Fair. Oh, way harder,
Yeah.
for sure. But even then, like, winning, what is it? Winning, like, 27 out of your first 30 games, like, you know what I mean? Like, nice shield. I like that shield because it's a shield to pill. It's not selfish. You're actually using your utility on teammates. And you land a huge rock which forces out cooldown. No, it gets a kill. That's fine. I am just looking at the time. We'll probably go over map 2 tomorrow if you're able to. Are you able to tomorrow?
Yeah, I should be able to.
Alright, cool. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. That's very nice. I like that. Yeah. Nice block. Your team's general target focus is not great. Things aren't dying after being low for a very long time. But other than that, like, you know what you're doing on the character. You definitely know what you're doing on the character. Oh my god. That's clean. If you can, yeah, that would have been cold. That would have been so cold. Nice, walling off the heels. Very strong. Yeah, so I think you view it way more as, actually no, this is a controversial thing because I know a whole bunch of coaches, a whole bunch of good coaches do still view this comp as a poke comp. But I like to approach it as a brawl comp. I think it's a very brawly mentality, or at least like Overwatch 2 brawl. Because you know how Overwatch 2 brawl was like Soldier and Genji for the longest time. Like it's not like hard brawl as it is. I just want you guys to try taking fights way closer, playing around corners, having a way less of a poke phase, because it's not necessarily your job to poke, it's your job to stop the Sigma from walking so their DPS can't get angles. That's a better way to view the comp. If you match Sigma early and you stuff him and you stop him from walking, Sojourn's limited to this sight line. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas if Sig walks up here, and if Sig is here, Sojourn's all of a sudden playing back point, you know? So I want you to view yourself as a Brawl tank in how you function, but just know the further that you walk up, the wider both your Sojourn and Ayari, when you're running the Ayari, can swing. And now, if we get really, really technical, our Lucio should also be stacked with our Soj after we escort like the Sig and the Bap. The Lucio and the Soj should be able to just run it down, hard int onto people, and also know that they can play passive if people decide to hard int onto them, because they have Lucio. Lucio is like a personal brig in this situation. It's really, really strange how pro players ended up like working out like this. But then there are other like nuances to the comp as well. Like I know into Doomfist comp, the play isn't actually to have Lucio on Sojourn. The play is more frequently to have Lucio on Mei. Sojourn isolates, Doom goes on Sojourn, and whilst Doom goes on Sojourn, it's kind of strange because the Lucio and the Mei just run it down on the Ana and the Brig. Like Lucio and Mei just run it down at backline, and they play for trades instead of playing for actual, you know, poke value, because you know, Doom into poke anyways is not the easiest matchup to take. But view yourself as more of a tank. You don't need to be poking at people out, because if you're holding close, Bab's breaking shield perma. We're getting walls on Sig. If we're stopping them from pushing, even if we back up a tiny bit, they're naturally just gonna want to walk. That's when we get wall. That's when we rock. That's when we amp and follow and chase and kill the rest of the people. Whilst that's happening, our Soj is like dueling their Soj whilst that's happening. You know what I mean? Just view the comp from a more brawly perspective, because we're not really... I've not seen us get any Mei value at all outside of Blizz. Do you see what I'm saying? Which is crazy, because if this was a poke comp, like there's so many better options for DPS right now instead of Mei. Like even if we're talking about Echo, even if we're talking about Tracer, if we're talking about anything like that, like we've got a Sig. Like, yeah, I don't know. We're playing it like we're running like Soj Hanzo or something like that. So I really like how you're using the window to just put pressure on the Soj, because that's a really nice example. One sec. That's a really nice example of just using your pressure to stop them from peeking. Like, you're not changing the angle the Soj is playing at, but because there's a constant threat of her dying, she kind of needed to change that angle. She decided to stick, but because she was sticking that angle, she wasn't able to peek for long periods of time and actually secure kills as it was. Now after their OC ends, we can just OC in return. And win off of that. Flux late fight. If we OC soonish and then Flux to finish the stuff that got forced out, because the OC at the very least is gonna force stuff out. Ice block, lamp. Do you see what I mean? Even the amp, and then we can just Flux stuff and it actually becomes winnable. We're actually kind of thankful that our Lucio died last, because if died first, because if it becomes a really scrappy fight and you do land the OC, you do land the Flux, like the Lucio will be back. This fight is already gonna last like a minute and a half, and I can tell that. Do you see what I'm saying? If we do decide to pop stuff. But now we decide to just hold it. I guess we do have point. See? Look at that. Look, even if you just look a split second away. This is their health bars, bearing in mind that we haven't even popped OC. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if we pop OC, we might even get a pick. We might force stuff. They might beat. Imagine they beat. That's just a free Flux. Even if it's in the next fight. Do you see what I'm saying? So... huge. That should be your indicator to just end it. You have to be relentless and just flip the tempo completely. You're 1-up, just tempo ult. Just flux for the tempo. Flux for the tempo. If it doesn't work out, we OC anyway and we just win. You know? If the fight is long enough, even if they stabilize, then we get a blizz off the back of it too. Like, this should be your trigger to just go in. Ah, you whiff. That's unfortunate that we stacked the ults as well. Lord, that's really bad actually. We get touched when we blizz. Jesus Christ. Nah, I'm not gonna lie, you guys entered. Oh my lord. There's no urgency with the blitz because we have a ball as well. Like, we get another touch. We get another 2 touches with the mate. Like, they wouldn't be split this hard if we knew, if, you know what I mean? Like, the reason why they split that hard is because we launched it. Why don't we just play for touch? Act like we're just trying to touch and then maybe just blizz 2, blizz 1, blizz whatever. We might even be able to blizz 5 here. Yeah, there were definitely opportunities to just win the game here. Definitely opportunities. Which is unfortunate. Was this a scrim? Oh yeah, I'm seeing the scrim codes. Wow. That's actually crazy that I did not even notice the numbers were there. Alright, cool. With that being said, I'm going to write a summary of stuff that you need to keep in mind. Just in your